Okay, great. Thank you everyone for joining in. I hope you're able to hear me loud and clear. It's a good day and pretty happy to connect with you guys today and help you out understand how we or what is the importance of quality in gas pipeline construction and what kind of solutions that digital solutions can be aided to ensure that you take a quality driven approach for your gas pipeline construction. Before we get in, let me understand. We have a wide set of audience connecting from various countries and various city gas distribution companies and cross-country pipelines. What is quality for you in your organization? Can you just type me out in your chat in the chat box? What does quality mean to you and your organization? So for various people, various organizations, quality means different things to them. For few uh, organizations, it is always about safety. Quality is measured in terms of safety. And then, so for some organizations, quality is measured in terms of service assurance. For some people, it's how long lasting it is, right? So there are various aspects to quality measurement. When you talk about a quality driven approach in gas pipeline construction, we see from a holistic point of view that what all come as part of it quality. See, when I say quality, what comes to quality? The first thing that might have come to your mind is various things as we were talking about. Could be safety. For some people, it could be cost as well. More doing it construction via quality, high quality always incurs an additional cost as well. So some people it can read as quality as well. And for some people, it's in terms of if I lay a network today, how long can it be served without any damages or without any leakages so that my cost of operations is less. So quality is also in terms of less cost in operations, right? Now, if that is what is quality, what is your role in quality when you talk about gas pipeline construction? Does quality play a role in your organization when you talk about gas pipeline construction? If it is yes, I want you to type yes in the chat box. If quality is important for you in your organization, in your pipeline construction, type a yes in the chat box. I would like to see how many people are uh, really interested and want and emphasizing upon quality as an quality first approach in their construction process. True, and also meeting safety standards and client requirements is also one of the important aspect of quality. Rightly said. Um, so yes, so when this is the things we are talking about, and if when quality is at most important to you, where does the journey of quality start? We're sitting over here and saying quality is important. We are saying quality is about standard, quality is about cost, quality about the safety. If this is the case and quality is coming as a first thing for you, then where does the journey of ensuring quality start? That's a question I ask most of the customers. And then what I stumble upon is that for people, quality is important, but it comes after construction for few of the people. Only when you step into operations, they start measuring the quality. For some people, this starts a bit earlier during the construction phase. And for properly designed organizations and organizations which have failed and understood the importance of quality, it starts with planning. Right from your planning till your commissioning, quality plays a role. So, in this webinar, we will understand how the transformation can be taken in the digital era in assuring a quality construction process. So by the end of this webinar, you'll see how a quality process can be embedded into your construction process and how you can actually measure that quality with the digital tools that are available. Okay, so that is what we're gonna discuss today's webinar. Okay, feel free to write your comments, feel free to write your inputs in the chat box. I'll frequently visit chat box and see if you have any questions for me. so that in that way we'll make this webinar more interactive and also more learning for everyone else. I assume everyone here is for learning something, right? Learning more about quality and improving the quality in your organization process. If yes, type a L in the chat box. L for learning. Just type a L in the chat box if you are here for learning something new and want to apply something new in your achieve quality in your organization. Just type L in your chat box for me to understand if you are here for learning. Great. So let's get started without much of the time. And before we talk about how this quality construction process is driven, I would like to give a brief background about me and the organization I'm working for so that it brings you in relevance why we are talking about quality. Will that be okay? Okay, great. Thank you. So we are a 12-year-old organization. A Magic Minds is a company where we are a quality first team who have emphasized in working with larger utilities across the globe. We have a presence in United States, India, and Australia in the ANZ region, where we primarily work with large-scale enterprises like utilities, power, gas, water, telecom customers in helping them build their GIS solutions and building their field mobility solutions. We are an organization who believe to continuously advance, evolve, and improve the kind of services that are provided and how a digital footprint can be created in an organization such that the process they adapt today can be made more efficient, less cost, and time saving. So we are more of a system and process standardization organization working across the utilities and bringing tailor-made solutions to meet the industry needs. For the Asia Pacific region, understanding the growth of how the gas pipe and construction industry is evolving, how the city gas distribution industry is evolving, we have designed solutions that are tailor-made for the Asia Pacific region, tailor-made for the Indian region, tailor-made for Bangladesh, Pakistan, Asia Pacific zones. So that is where we are coming from. We have a vast background and experience of people working on the field and getting knowledge of how this construction process is taken place. So we are working with some of the elite customers across the globe and few of the reputed organizations in Indian region who are in the CGD sector. You're in safe hands, and our footprint is not only limited to field solutions, but it extends into bringing in digital solutions onto the table, which will serve the various purposes of GIS and also field mobility solutions. We are market pioneers in the construction management solution space. Now, with that background, let's talk about what determines quality. So when we started this presentation, we said various aspects of quality, right? If I put together these elements and the voice of the operations team, the voice of the planning team, and the voice of the construction team, the key buzzword that we hear, what determines quality is less operation hassles. That means when my system is, when my gas network is commissioned and it is in operation, I need to have less operation hassles. That will determine the quality of construction for me. How many can correlate to this? Just type I. If you see this as a possibility in your organization that you resonate with the word less operation hassles with your quality in the organizations. Type an I in the chat box if you resonate with this. Process and guidelines followed, the way we have mentioned in terms of standardization of the process, standardization of the guidelines. So this is one area we are talking about, right? So process and guidelines being followed, and there are no silo process. Like we very much are aware with the geographical area term, right? It represents one area of work for a larger organization. If every individual GA, geographical area, or a subsection that is working in an organization is following the same process, that determines the quality of the output. How accurate the information is being reported. Any incident on the field any changes in the field, how accurately are they being reported? So that determines quality. On time fixing of the issues, if some issue is being reported and being fixed on time, then it determines the quality. The delay will impact the quality, right? Avoiding last minute rush, being planned, being prepared, being having all the approvals in place, that will ensure every activity takes place in its time without creating any delays, right? And avoiding any last minute rush. Proper marking and locations. Creating markers, identifying the locations is one of the key aspects in determining the quality, because that will help us identify and point to the network more accurately at any given point of time. And handshake between all departments. You have your planning department, you have your field department, which is taking care of construction. You have your store department, which is providing the material, free show material. You have your quality department and the third party organizations which are doing the quality assessment. All these departments seeing the same data, working on the same data, and proper handshake between all these departments will determine the quality of the construction. Quality check and approvals, wherein if the depth of a trench needs to be 6 meters, that being standardized and any deviations being reported immediately is one of the key aspects that needs to be taken into consideration when you're talking about the quality check, right? Measuring the performance is one other important aspect that needs to be taken into consideration. And then finally, how you report this information, how you report a dashboard or analytics saying that this is the amount, how you measure the quality, I said, right? How many wells have been rejected, how many repairs have been done on the network, how much delay has taken place in the complete construction process is one of the key aspects of how your quality can be determined. I've talking through you 10 points, 10 key points of what determines the quality. How many you can resonate with this? And which is a point that you see in your organization is more relevant? Can you type it in the chat box? Keep the chat box open, make it more interactive so that we can have more conversation while I do this presentation. I'm here to help you understand or give the knowledge that we have. And I want to see how much is relevant with your industry, right? So keep your chat box open, keep it more interactive as we talk through. So which is the one point or which is that 2 points or other points that actually resonates with you in determining the quality? Open your chat box, write it through so that I understand what you're thinking through while I walk you through this presentation. I'll take a pause over here to read through any of your messages that are coming in at this point of time. Thank you, Rishikesh, for resonating with the thoughts that we have. Thank you, Ravi Kumar. I understand for every one of you joining over here for learning through the session. Thank you, Shakti. Less operational hazards. That's a good one. Okay. Piyush. Okay. Accurate reporting in less operational hazards. True. That's one of the 2 key terms that most of our customers and people we interact with on the field resonate with. Great. So if this determines quality, how do you measure that? Right? How do you measure the complete quality in the construction process? So it's always about measuring the information needed, right? So generating your status against minimum workable plan so that you understand where you're looking at, like in terms of how much construction has happened. What was the planned construction? What is the actual work done? What is the quality of the work done? Are there any roadblocks which might halt the process? When are we getting information about the daily progress? In the real time, in the near real time, delay by a day, delay by a week? What is the proof of work done? Right? And how accurately are you able to capture the coordinates during the construction than later by survey? Creating digital evidence of the work done. So all this actually contribute to the measuring your quality, right? And more importantly, third-party excavations that happen on a daily basis, right? So you have your gas network and there is a construction happening for electric network, or there's an electric network and you're doing a gas pipeline construction network. Inaccurate system or data, inaccurate availability of the information of the entire system can actually cause damages. This also is a considerable factor for determining the quality, for measuring your quality and reducing your operational losses. How can you actually do it? How can you measure these qualities? Plan prior hand what is your measurable factor. Planning comes as your first thing. Then act upon that plan. You act upon that plan and say, this is what I've planned for. Sorry. So this is what I have planned for, which will transform to my act on the field. When you act on the field, consistently check and measure, and then you take a step to improve. So this is a cyclic process. This is try, fail, learn, repeat. So this is a cycle which you need to follow to ensure that quality is priority. So when you know how to measure the quality of your construction network, this cycle will form the basis for your entire success. Now, when we look at the system, right, this is your planning and design phase, wherein you need a solution which will help you build a system which can visualize your network and also give you the relevant information. What do you mean by relevant information? For example, take the example of a dial before you dig system. What does a dial before you dig do? Someone who is in the process of construction wants to dig a manhole over here or a trench over here, consults the respective authorities to check if there is an underlying network over here which gets impacted due to the trench. Now, if this information has to be provided, there needs to be a source system which has all the relevant information of the construction, right? So whatever the information about the construction is there, that needs to be available, right? So that is what is your first phase where you're talking about planning and information systems. Then we come to the on-field data. On-field data forms a very key aspect of your construction process. Like, what is your trench depth? What was your mat level? What was the soil type? So there are various aspects that needs to be collected as part of your construction. When you see your asset information system or your GIS system, most of the time the information that you have is post-construction data, like what is the, where is your trench located, what is your pipe parameters, but it does not talk much about the construction parameters, like what was the mat level, what was the soil type, what was the weather condition at which this construction has taken place, right? So these are the key aspects that needs to be captured during your construction process so that you have a relevance in terms of the network parameters. Then we move to the back office process, wherein a quality approval process. Someone mentioned quality check, right? How do you do a quality check? It is against the construction parameters. So having a quality team, a QC team, which can review the information coming in so that you can say that the 90% of the network data has been accurately checked and modified for any corrections. So that is a kind of process that needs to be in place for you to achieve the back office construction quality measurement. And then how is this information being exported to your GIS system, to your as-built system, to your asset management system, so that all the systems are having same information transferred and everyone in the organization is viewing the same data for decision making process. So this as a holistically will determine your quality in your organization. How? You might be wondering, how are these determining quality in your organization, right? So this is where each of these steps contributes to different aspects of information. This step is contributing to data capturing. This is talking about reviewing. This is talking about maintaining or visualization common data. And this we are talking about planning. So this previous step where we talked about plan, act, measure, and improve. These are the ones. Plan, this is your act, this is your measure, and then you improve. 4 steps: plan, act, measure, improve. So if you understood these 4 steps, I want you to type in the chat box PAMI, PAMI, which stands for plan, act, measure, and improve. Type it in the chat box if you understand the PAMI structure in the quality process. Okay, so I'll demonstrate to a system which can actually cover a few of these aspects of how we are doing it. We at Magic Minds understand the need and design a reliable tool for automating this complete process for quality monitoring. It's a true digital solution which can operate with a bring your own digital devices kind of a system, which can streamline the entire process from the design phase to the GIS till your asset management system is constructed. It follows a mobile first principle and with taking into consideration the accuracy of construction, considering the limitations and capabilities of the end user. So let me show you a demonstration. Are you ready for looking at demonstration of how this can be achieved? If you are ready, type in the chat box, bring on a demo, BOD. Just type in the chat box, bring on the demo, BOD, so that it gives me energy to start demonstrating to you the real solution. Type in the chat box. I want to see the BOD from every audience over there for me to bring the energy and bring the demonstration to you on a live system. This would be a real demonstration of how the quality parameters are being measured and validated in the system. So type out the BOD in the chat box and let's jump in the real demonstration. Okay, I hope you're able to see my screen with a web browser, with a field on system and thumbs up, right? Type in it yes in the chat box if you can see that. Great. Now let me log into the system. Okay, for now, I'm playing a role of a project manager who is looking at the construction of a pipeline. So let me log into my system. On the morning, I'm coming into the office, sitting at my desk as a project manager. I know there is around 50 kilometers city gas distribution line being constructed in my area. I have come into the office in the morning. I'm logging into the system. I'm not dialing in anyone to check the status. I'm directly logging into the system and I'm able to see every project that are running under my supervision. A digital view of every project that is running in my geographical area. Perfect. Now, let me pick one of the projects. This is saying steel pipeline laying from Hyderabad in a particular region. Okay, so let me go in. Okay, I can see there is a network being constructed over here. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me look at all the pipes. Okay, so this is the pipe network of which is being constructed on the current day. So you can see there's a network being constructed, and in the real time, as a pipe is lowered on the ground, an immediate reflection of that is seen in the background office. There is no overnight sync, or there is no a week after process to bring the digital data back into the office. In the near real time, as soon as a pipe has been lowered, I see that information in the back office system. I see there is a gap over here and a here. Probably this is because there's a T junction and a T has to be installed at this point. And if I come over here, scroll down further, I see there is a network gap over here, and I can see there's an underlying railway network that is going, which needs a special approval, and so there's a halt in the construction. So this is a kind of visualization I'm getting when I'm sitting in the back office. I want to see all the crossings, or if I want to see all the fittings, I can see various fittings information. There's a bend over here. I can click and see the data of the bend information. Now, the thing which you need to very much understand and write down on the book if you have right next to you is that this information is coming in the real time. I have not called to anyone. There is no post-construction process being done. In the real time, when the network is being constructed, I'm able to visualize the network on the map in the back office sitting right at my desk. Great, right? Now, why I say that is because now, let me see the stringing information. There is a pipeline there's a pipe that has been stringed. I have all the relevant information about it. I have the photos with respect to the activity, right? So when I say that, you can see something called as QC pending over here. That means the information has been captured, but it is not been reviewed yet. So let me go in and see what's the workflow for it. There's no information associated with, right? So now I would summon my quality manager. Okay. So let me call upon my quality manager to log into the system. So I'm taking the role of a quality hat now. So let me log in as an quality engineer. I see the same project over here. Go in and say activities, stringing. This is QC pending. So let me look at this. You can see there's a QC approval process now. I can visualize this data. I can see, okay, the section length is 12.25. Pipe number is fine. Kilometer is fine. I can say that everything looks good. Can you provide me some photos during the stringing process next time? And then I can say approve this data so that it goes to the next level in the approval process. Okay. Now this is QC approved. If you see, if I go back and look at the QC workflow again, you can see that this is QC approved. It has my comments and it has my signature, and the status has changed to QC approved. Now, this is a kind of approval process where your quality team sitting in the back office can visualize every information. Like, for example, I go to the trenching. So trenching, I see it's a soft soil. Trench depth is 0.6 meters. There's a photo and other information. Now, I would like to do a QC input over here on this particular information. So I can actually say this process saying that, okay, the weather conditions are not permissible for doing this activity. So you need to redo the activity. So that's the kind of information I can punch in. Furthermore, like for example, I go into radiography and then look at the information over here. You can see that the radiation, so sensitivity information, everything available. And then I can initiate a QC workflow on this. Now I'm going to switch back and see over here, this has changed to QC approved, right? So that means the approval process has been done for this process. In this way, you will actually able to measure every aspect and parameter of your construction and do a QC, QA, QC process in the entire system. What you can additionally do is create design validation rules where I say that, okay, if my I'll take one of the parameters for measuring and say, like for example, in terms of trenching, the minimal permissible depth is 1 meter. Okay. If there is any value entered less than 1 meter, I want the system to automatically raise a flag and alert the project manager and the quality manager that the construction is not as per the process. So this is how you can actually bring a QA/QC approval workflow system during the construction phase itself. And this is completely digital. How many of you see this digital process helpful in your organization? Type helpful in the chat box if you see this is helpful. This is making sense in reducing the timeline in the approval process. Just type helpful in the chat box if you see this helpful. Right? So you can do attachments, whatever there's attachment that needs to be done, you can attach over here in terms of the quality measurement process. Now, this is with respect to how a QA/QC can be conducted on the system, right? Now go back and I want to check a dashboard on this particular project of what is the current approval state. You can see that there are 197 pipes that have been stringed, one has been approved, and there are still certain information that is pending for approval. So this is a dashboard which will help me understand how much of my data has been reviewed, how much has been approved, how many have been rejected or revalidated, like corrections have been done, and how many are still pending for approval. This is a dashboard which is giving me the information about the entire organization, every activity in place. Right? Understood? Great. So this covers every element, every asset, every activity that is being performed, and the QA/QC is being done on top of it for giving you the quality inputs. Right? You can export this as an Excel sheet, or you can go to the map and look at the entire project information. This is also done for assets as well. Like for example, you can see this weld is in QC pending status. So again, I'll summon my quality engineer to look at this and do a QA/QC on this. Let me go over here. I'm in the login of my quality engineer. I'll go to the welding. You have a weld over here. I'll go to the QC workflow. Now over here, I'll say the filler pass information is missing and requires the welder ID if activity has been performed. Okay. And then also what I would do is that I'll reject the data to be data type. You can reject either based on the data or the quality type. Data. And then I'll reject this process. I'll reject this weld so that I'll select the data over here and then I'll say reject. So it says QC rejected. Now, when my project manager looks at the system, he sees that this activity has been QC rejected. So this is QC rejected. What I would do is that I'll edit this now and say welder ID is missing for the filler pass. So if I have to change the value, I'll change the value. I'll mark the status over here saying need repair, preheat temperature change to 102. And I'll add my update saying that filler pass activity wasn't done. However, other parameters have been updated and measured. Please consider for approval. Okay. And then probably if I have to edit other parameters over here, and then it'll say update. Now, as it has been updated successfully, so I go back to the QC flow. I see that it has been rejected. Now, what I would do is that I would provide my comments as a project manager saying that changes done. Please review and approve accordingly. And then send for approval. Now it is again QC for pending, and look at the history. I see that this QC pending and was rejected initially. I look at the screen of my project manager now. Sorry, quality engineer. It's again QC pending. I go to the QC workflow process. So I can see the information that has been provided over here. Changes done, please review and provide accordingly. I'll say changes considered and approved. And then I'll finally approve this step. Right? So I'll say this is quality point and has been approved. Now, when I go back to my QC dashboard on the project, I can see that when I go to the welding, so you can see the dashboard of how many have been done. The trending which have been approved can be seen over here now. And one is QC pending over here for weld. And then approved so that the status can be reflected over here in terms of your activity. So this is a QC dashboard giving you information and the quality process that has been inbuilt in the system so that in the real time you can visualize, measure, and report any kind of abnormalities in the system so that while the construction is happening, your quality is being measured, right? So this is, and you can generate any reports that are required as part of the system, like you can generate the stringing report, welding report, daily progress report, all the required reports directly from the system in a completely digital fashion. Now that you're actually going away from the paper-driven process and making everything digital, and including the quality-driven process, you being able to measure the way I've shown you the dashboard about the quality, you being able to take Corrective actions, like you act upon corrections, can be done through the QC work process, and then you can eventually improvise the process by continuous learning. So this is how the system helps you in uh, ensuring that you have a quality driven process in your construction management system. So how many of you find this QC process very much relevant in your organizations? Just type QC in the chat box if you find this relevant in your organization. So when you talk about a fast track method, in a project control method, what happens is that it needs more attention than any normal construction process, because over here the real-time information being available to everyone plays a key role in terms of it's a decision making process, right? So if you're talking about a fast track process, then the real time, how much real time is your information coming back to the back office is one important aspect, and two, how much of the information about the construction is synchronized between all the stakeholders is a second important factor. Hamidi, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so these are various dashboards and reports that can be generated in the system. And you being able to measure the daily progress, generating your pipe books, welding reports, everything seamlessly using this kind of a system. This is a kind of a digital construction management system. So I want to take a pause over here and listen to any of the questions that you have, and any other points that you want to touch base upon in terms of quality driven process. Feel free to write your questions in the chat box. I'm here listening to you and want to answer as many questions as possible in the available next 10 minutes time that we have. Feel free to write back your questions. What we're going to do is that if you are interested and find the system helpful in your quality in your organization, we are willing to provide a 1-month trial for you, so that in one of your geographical area where the construction is happening on the current day, for a half a kilometer network or a kilometer, you want to use the system for capturing the data, play with the entire system. We are open to provide a trial for you, understand your process as well, any corrections that needs to be done. So you can write back at contact@fieldon.com, so that we will be able to we will be able to provide you with an web trial for your organization. So Satyendra, great, you already have a system in place. I really appreciate you taking the first step in building a system which will actually give you a quality driven process. It would be great if we are able to have a conversation in terms of understanding your standardizations in the process that can be taken back to the CGD industry for other organizations as well. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you and understand the standardization process that you have in your organization. If you can, please drop an email to me at contact@thefieldon.com, so that we can have a conversation about how your process is standardized. That we can learn from and help other organizations as well. Any other questions from anyone in the webinar? If not now, you can feel free to write back at contact@thefieldon.com with your questions and request for a trial, and we will be able to help you out. I hope this session was informative and some insights in terms of how a digital system can help you achieve quality was very well understood and touch based upon your pain points. I'll wait for a couple of more minutes for any questions that are coming in before we wind up, and looking forward for your emails and understand how you have started as your organization. If there are any points you want to touch base upon, please write in the chat box. What are other aspects of standardization that you have done in your organization, or brought in the digital aspect for quality measuring. Write in the chat box if there are other points which you see from equality that would play an important role. As a community, we need to learn, share, and improvise the systems so that as a community we grow together. The vision we carry is digitization of the entire construction process in a holistic way from edge to edge to deliver a less operation hassle and a high quality network for a gasified nation. So I hope you all resonate with this vision and will be happy to connect with you more in person. For everyone who wants to have a one-on-one contact with me or want to write back to me to understand and explain me more about your process or some of the specific challenges you want me to address, here is my mail ID, kartik.panchangam@magicminds.com and my mobile number 9704028379. You're free to call or free to email me at any point of time to talk more about how the digital process is being done in various organizations and how we are helping or how we can solve your business challenge. Okay, great. If this was helpful and you found it informative, I would request you to type TY, thank you in the chat box, TY in the chat box before we sign off so that we all connect back again very soon in another webinar, exchanging more details about how other organizations are standardizing this. Thank you, Piyush. Thank you, Mohiuddin. Thank you, Rishikesh. Thank you, Ravi Kumar. Thank you, everyone who has joined in this call today and given your valuable time in understanding how the quality-driven process are being done in the industry. Thank you, everyone.